Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm Sethum and welcome back to another video, folks. Today we're going to do some more dungeons, but of course I did want to cut in right now and just start this recording because it is something special that has just happened. You saw a trade take place. This is one of the things that I do like about World of Warcraft. So what has happened is I was stood in front of the auction house, just basically going through my inventory, trying to figure out how to basically manage it so that I have sufficient space, because I always seem to be running out now, especially seeing as we're doing more dungeons and stuff like that. So obviously the option of buying bags from the auction house has occurred to me. Unfortunately, I don't think I have enough gold, and I do want to save up for a mount when we get to level 30. With that said, a player whispered to me in the game, or contacted me in the game, asking me what I'm doing. I told him I'm doing fine. I wasn't quite sure exactly what he was referring to. He basically went on to tell me that he's always seen me move around and do stuff and just generally be active. And on this day, I was just stood there for quite some time. And I explained to him that I'm a new starter that basically has just picked up the game after a 10-year plus vacancy or absence from the game, and I'm just basically trying to find a way to manage my inventory in a way that I don't always run out of space, trying to decide, what to do with everything that I have, how to store it, what is worth leaving and stuff like that. And he was kind enough to offer me some bags. He asked me if that would help, and I did say yes if there's anything available. So he's logged on to another character and handed me 2 bags, which you saw me just receive, and of course put or equip on myself, which is actually quite useful. Now, this is one of the key features that I do like about this game. The social aspect of it is actually quite nice. Of course, it does have its cons. You can get trolled here quite badly and stuff like that. But he basically offered me those bags. I offered to give him some gold out of what I had. He basically just gave them to me for free. So that was very, very useful. And, I did thank him in game for it. I'm also going to thank him on the video as well, because it is quite useful and does make a big difference, especially to someone like me who has just started out. And what you see on this character is exactly what I have. I haven't got another character anywhere. There's no way for me to get any more resources than what I already have. So it's just what it is. But this is what makes World of Warcraft great, on top of the game itself and the content that the game does offer. So I thought I might as well, I kind of thought about it late here, but I thought I might as well just sort of record this and show people why this game is great in its own way. And yeah, it's just one of those things. Now, you can't see that I am, of course, in a group, and this one is for a dungeon. It's a dungeon I haven't actually ever done. Yeah, it's new to me. I don't know this dungeon. I'm in as a healer, so yeah, we'll see how this goes. If we can get a group together, or if we're gonna 4-man this. This is actually, like I said, I think it's one of the dungeons that the tank in our guild doesn't like doing. Apparently, there's something to do with killing turtles and something. I don't know. I don't remember this one, so we'll see how this goes. It'll be interesting. Now, I'm waiting to be summoned, because if I were to try and get there, because I haven't discovered the path, it would take me many hours to make my way there. So it sounds like a lazy option, but it isn't. It's just they probably have a path there or closer to there. So with that said, it's just a case of having to wait around until I receive the summon and then just accept the summon. And yeah, off we go. It's on the other continent. I haven't really done anything or discovered anything there. So yeah. Alright, folks, here we are. We are going in the dungeon. I honestly do not recall this. I recall the area. So I did go past this area many times. Just never ever been in this dungeon. So this is a completely new experience to me. We are getting boosted. As you can see, this person that has offered to help us with the dungeon happens to be 20 levels higher than the dungeon. So I guess healing wise, there might be some need for healing from me. And I'm not that big a thing. I suppose it's just one of those things where I might have to keep him alive just long enough for everybody else to more or less DPS things down. But it's not that big a deal, as you can see. So his level is significantly higher. I'm going to try and do my best here. So this has basically turned into a bit of a boost. Personally speaking, with the way things are going in the game, boosts aren't really all that helpful in terms of gaining levels. It can be helpful with regards to gaining gear. So this is a game that is heavily gear dependent, and it does make a big difference. The better gear you have, the more stats you have, or the higher your stats are, the better you do for damage and other things. So it's quite an important feature. So yeah, that's the way it works. We are making our way to the dungeon. This place actually feels a bit claustrophobic, if I'm honest. The ceiling is quite low to the ground, so personally speaking, I am not a fan of that. It is late at night. It is almost midnight here in the UK at the time of this recording, so hopefully I don't botch it up too much. I have been playing the game for quite a while, and physically speaking, I am actually quite tired. I do feel really tired, to be honest. So yeah, we'll see how this run goes. I don't see why it would fail. The only thing that could fail with it would be me dying multiple times. But I don't think that's going to be the case. I don't know. Yeah, see, we're pulling aggro on all these things right here. Basically, you have to fight your way to the entrance to the dungeon, which is fine. Us little folk have to pick fights with these things. Because our booster, by that I'm referring to the person giving us the boost, is much higher level, he doesn't have much trouble with these. We, on the other hand, seem to attract their attention quite a bit. Okay, so with that said, let's crack on and let's see how this goes. I'm kind of undecided here if I want to actually upload this video or not, but it is, I suppose, part of the game. If you do play World of Warcraft, it is bound to happen at one point or another. You will get boosted, so yeah, I think just on that principle I might upload it. I don't think I'm going to get a level from it or anywhere near. I'm actually going to look at the XP bar from the moment we enter the dungeon till the end and see what I've gained. But the gains don't tend to be that much experience-wise just because of that. So as you can see, well, we're getting peanuts here for experience. So I think we're a bit lost. There we go, as you saw there. Now, one thing you may have noticed is I do like to have the camera well zoomed out. So it's just one of those things. It does help me get a better perspective on the environment and what's happening around me. I think we lost someone. There we go. Yeah, we found them again. I am poisoned because that's one of the things in this game. And this is the entrance. Huh. Interesting. So let's see what turtles there are here. Of course, the person I'm referring to in the guild is Tyrion here. He apparently doesn't like this dungeon. Something to do with turtles. I'm quite curious right now. Doesn't mean I'm going to be here very often, but yeah, I want to see what this is all about. That really sparked my curiosity. There was actually a very lengthy conversation in the guild chat around this, which I didn't partake. I kind of read, but I was kind. It just made me very curious. I get it, you know, we don't want to kill turtles, but it is a game, and it's not actually physically killing anything. And yeah, I mean, I suppose this dungeon kind of is a case where these creatures are in here just doing their own thing, and here we come killing all these sea creatures and stuff like that. And yeah, well, at the end of the day, it is a game, right? And it's just what we have to. I mean, geez, these things are going down fast. But yeah, it is a game, and we are doing our own little thing here in the game. Personally speaking, I don't agree with killing sea creatures, and I don't know if you guys know, there was a documentary on Netflix. It was called Seaspiracy. Up to that point, I used to eat fish. After watching it, I stopped eating fish, so I have not eaten fish or fish-related products for almost 2 years now, if I'm honest. And it is basically due or since that specific documentary. It's not because I'm trying to save lives. I do love meat and I do love me fish, but it is with regards to how the fishing process goes and the fact that there is a lot of byproduct. And not just that, right? It's also a case of how much damage it's actually doing to the seabed, with the trawlers pulling their nets and just kind of wrecking life. And it's basically, you know, a lot of it will be byproduct. So it's really, really sad. It takes a long time for that to heal, to grow back, and then another trawler comes and then basically destroys it all over again and stuff like that. So to be honest, when I saw that and the massive effect it's having on our oceans and sea life, it just put me off eating fish. Personally speaking, I love meat, alright? I'm of the principle of if you catch an animal and you take its life, make sure it's worth it. Make sure you consume all of it, and I do mean all of it. I grew up on a farm, quite in a secluded area, and we used to consume everything, and I do mean everything. And so I'm of that principle of, you know, you take a life, make sure that life that you took was worth it. Make sure you use all of that creature. Don't waste it. You know, I get it. You know, it's one of those things. There are carnivores and herbivores. We humans tend to be omnivores, and we kind of eat a bit of everything. And that's fine. You know, I mean, we don't have to, but yeah, don't waste a life. It's not worth it. It's just sad. That's why, for example, I'm a fan of pretty much, if I'll eat any meat product, I'll eat black pudding. I will eat, and I know what's in it. I will eat haggis. I don't just want the good bits of that creature that has been slaughtered. I will eat all of it. You know, I'm happy with it. I know what it's like. I know what it tastes. I know what it contains, and I'm happy with it. And I'm happy to know that all of that creature that has been sacrificed for our bellies is being used. And to me, then it's part of the circle of life, to be fairly honest. And I know that it has not been wasted. And that's basically where I stand. And because of going back to the documentary, this actually sent me on a very long theory, hasn't it? Going back to that documentary, with the byproduct and stuff like that, it made me realize how destructive it is. I never thought it was that destructive, and I don't know why. I should have thought about it sooner. But yeah, since then, I've stopped eating fish. Now, that doesn't mean I won't ever eat fish. I will eat fish, but the condition I set myself is I have to catch it and do it ethically through the use of a, say, fishing pole, where I don't destroy half of the environment for a piece of fish. Oh, I see what turtles you meant now. Haha. Okay, I can see why he doesn't like that. Fair enough, you know. But yeah, that's basically where I stand with that. That means I have to start picking up fishing, just so I can eat some fish. Which, don't get me wrong, the amount of times I've gone past the shop and I really wanted a piece of fish, a piece of salmon. I used to like salmon, but then you know, I know what's happened to get that piece of salmon into the shop, and how much has been destroyed, how much of the environment has been destroyed for that salmon. It just puts me right off. So that's basically where I'm at. Eventually, one of these days, I don't want to buy a whole set of fishing just to do that. But if that's what it is, I guess I will have to buy it. Or I've been thinking of hiring a boat and just kind of going somewhere offshore. I do live at the end of the day, if you think about it. The UK is a giant island, so yeah, been thinking of going offshore on a fishing boat with a rod and just trying to catch something. If I catch something, fine. If I don't, I don't. I think that whole experience would be nice. So I might potentially be looking at that, and if I do catch something that is edible, I look forward to eating it. And of course, I'm all for the whole dirty working of cleaning the fish, so to speak. So okay, we're getting 18 XP off of these, and I can see why Tyrion is against this. I guess they were winding him up with turtle soup in the chat, so I can see why. Fair enough. Yeah, maybe I'm saying that, right? This dungeon goes back to the beginning of World of Warcraft, and I'm pretty sure they didn't consider ethical stuff like this. And sometimes World of Warcraft does like to take the mickey out of certain topics. So yeah, it's one of those things, isn't it? I don't know if they did that for that reason or what, but yeah, like I said, World of Warcraft does go back quite a while. I'm not sure if they intended to upset anybody through this dungeon, but they clearly have people thinking about it and not really wanting to do it. So yeah, there's a lot of swimming as far as I can see right now. So this would be one of the reasons, personally speaking, I would not be a fan of. Swimming in this game is, or fighting things underwater is not something I like. Okay, I'm gonna keep people alive here, hopefully. Also, I didn't mention it, I just continued carrying on with what I was saying, but at the beginning of this run, so to speak, you saw a bit of a conversation in the group with regards to buffs. I thought one of the players was asking for a specific buff, which they already had, but no, it was the other way around. I'll go and get some air before I actually start suffocating here, drowning even. But no, that player seems to know the person that's given us the run, and he was asking on behalf of that person. But the way he was asking, he was quite rude. Now, again, I guess you see both sides of World of Warcraft in the game. It was a misunderstanding on my part. I didn't know who. Either he wasn't specific or I misunderstood. But the way he reacted to my reply was quite rude, I'd say. But this is what you get. This is what you get. You get your good people, like you saw at the beginning of the video, and then those that think or expect you to be mind readers and stuff like that. And when you don't get it right, they start having these like attitude type things. Which it's fine, you know. I could have left the party just on that principle, but I thought, you know what, I'm getting here. I'm getting a boost. It was an honest mistake. Whether it was mine or his fault, it doesn't really matter now. His attitude was not all that great, but I can get over it, and it's just what it is. We're all humans here. He probably thinks I've been playing this for a long time, or I'm maybe some kid player or something, but in fact that's not the case. It's far from it. This is the first time I'm seeing this dungeon. I'm returning to it I'm returning to World of Warcraft after many years of inactivity, and I'm also watching another YouTuber that plays World of Warcraft. Personally speaking, from my own perspective and experience, I have no understanding and knowledge of retail, to be honest. But there seems to be quite a few differences with regards to dungeons and stuff like that. So I'm trying to kind of compare them. I don't think I will be a big fan of retail. I do like the classic content far more than retail. Saying that, I haven't really experienced retail, but if people want me to give that a go, I'm more than happy to do so. I don't think, to be honest, that I'll be someone who would enjoy retail. I do like this content. Maybe I'm autistic, maybe this brings back too many memories and stuff like that, and I like I like it for that reason. And also, whilst I'm on the topic here, folks, one of my very old friends, best friends with that, we haven't actually spent time chatting for a long time. I mean, I've left home, geez, 2008, right? I moved to another country in 2008, so that's what, that's 14, 15 years ago. We haven't really spent much time since then talking and everything, but he does know about my channel, and he's seen my World of Warcraft content, and yeah, he's been asking me about it. Now, I thought when I quit that he'd already quit as well, but apparently it turns out he has continued playing. Funny enough is, I was the person that got him into World of Warcraft, and he's continued playing it since. Don't know if it's WoW Classic or WoW Retail. Anyways, he's seen my content, and he's asked me about what server I'm on. I told him the server name, and so it is very possible that in the future, very likely actually I'd say, that we will be playing and doing content together and stuff like that. So I am looking forward to that. And yeah, this is a friend that I've not spoken to for a very long time. So there you go, another interesting benefit of this game. This yeah, this is one of the things, I mean, me and him go way back. We played back in Burning Crusade when it was the actual DLC. We played through Wrath of the Lich King. We played through Cataclysm, and towards the end of Cataclysm is when I quit. The other thing I was going to mention is, apparently, so they say, the people at Blizzard don't want to bring out the Cataclysm DLC, so they say. Very, very interesting note here. Now, I don't know what they said about Burning Crusade after bringing that out, but apparently this was meant to be just a WoW Classic server where it was just a core game. Their answer was, no, we're not going to be bringing out Burning Crusade, yada yada bloody bloody. However, at some point down the line, they announced the Burning Crusade content, and I know that because I was watching, I think, a famous YouTuber or doing stuff like this, which I thought was quite funny. Okay, so to me it sounded at that point in time that they're basically redoing the whole experience of 10 years ago kind of thing. Then obviously I found out that Wrath of the Lich King is coming out. I don't know if they said that they'd not be doing that, but yeah, it looks like to me like basically it's doing the whole redoing the whole classic DLC launch type of thing. But they said that they won't be doing Cataclysm. Now, my stance on this is, if they want a place to stop with the DLCs, I would say Cataclysm is the place to be to stop the content. And my reason for that is Cataclysm brings flying mounts to Azeroth, not just the DLC content. Saying that the DLC content takes place in Azeroth, if I'm honest. So if they wanted a place to stop, the only problem I have and the only issue I would like to point out is Cataclysm became quite easy. I would like it so that it is kind of difficult, that the difficulty level is still high, and that would be something I would personally appreciate. So yeah, if they do that, I mean, I don't know. See, they say they won't do anything past Wrath of the Lich King. Personally thinking, I believe that they will. They have to keep the fan base going, the servers going, people busy on the servers, and they've already kind of split their community into two. Another suggestion I would have, and this is quite easy, they could have multiple servers, one that runs, for example, just World of Warcraft with nothing else on it, one that just does World of Warcraft and Burning Crusade, one server that does World of Warcraft with Burning Crusade and Wrath of the Lich King and stuff like that, so everybody can be wherever they want, the world that they like. stuff like that. They can even do that with Cataclysm and have their own like little sections, which allows people to play the content that they like. Personally speaking, just because I have very many pleasant memories, pleasant newbie memories on Burning Crusade. My apologies, got that one wrong. Yeah, I really liked Burning Crusade. That was, I think, the best time for me in terms of when I played WoW. I have so many wonderful memories about that game. And so this is why I'm pushing really hard here. I want to get to Outlands before the Burning Crusade is kind of not important anymore. Another thing I personally did not like about World of Warcraft is with each new DLC, they made the previous one invalid, null, whatever, you know. And what I mean by that is the dungeons were forgotten about. The battle arenas were forgotten about. The marks and currency you got from them were forgotten about. Everything was all about the new content. They just basically killed off their old content, which I never agreed with. I never liked the whole thing. I felt that they should have encouraged players to continue playing the old content, you know, and just it's just a simple fix in my opinion. And the fix is, you know, let them play the old dungeons, let them scale up dungeons to their whatever the end game content level is, and have the dungeons scalable difficulty wise and NPC level wise, and you know, even have heroic versions of those dungeons. And that's where I stand. And of course, you know, scale up the gear. It would have been so nicer that way. It just doesn't, it just makes it feel like the previous patches, the previous DLCs, whatever you want to call them, it just makes them feel like they weren't actually null, that they still hold some value. The same things with various marks. So if you're doing like heroic dungeons, raids and all that, you'll get marks and stuff or kills. I don't remember what they're called, but yeah, with each new patch, at least up till Cataclysm, they just continuously brought out new marks, and the old ones that you had, and you always have leftovers from buying gear and stuff like that, you never ended up using it. And it felt sad, you know. It felt sad that that content that a big team of people worked on is now not enjoyed by people anymore. And it shouldn't be the case. It should be something that should always be enjoyed. The game itself and the idea behind it is not bad. It's really good. I like the whole leveling in it. I like the experience of leveling in it. I like playing those dungeons and interacting with that content. And the fact that it was being made or nullified with the new content is I always found that very sad. Okay, for some odd reason these guys want to hit me. I don't know why. I'm not hitting anything. Maybe I'm pulling aggro with my heels. But yeah, there we go. This was, I suppose, I don't even know. Was it around? Yeah, I suppose it was just me talking about things that I think or found interesting, and I suppose to some extent are important to me, and some opinions and thoughts with how this game was developed, what I thought about it, and what I would have liked to have seen, what I would like to see, to be fairly honest. I think that guy's a boss right there at the end. I don't think the tank here will have much problem. He has not had any problems throughout the entire run, so I don't see why he would have a problem now. But yes, I mean, if you guys have any opinions with regards to what I said, whether it is to do with fishing and all sorts of stuff like that, yeah, put it down below. I definitely want to see what people think about it. To me, these are interesting topics. And another one that's quite interesting is the whole so the same people that did what was it, Seaspiracy, also did another documentary called Cowspiracy, right? So I watched that very vaguely, and I don't like the way things are done, or certain things are done. I don't agree with the whole ethics of it. But I do like meat, and I do like beef. Funny enough is I don't always, or haven't always been a beef type of person, but as I got older, I started to like it a bit more. Anyways, I digress there. What I wanted to say is they basically accused the cows' farts for the pollution. And I thought to myself, that is just so stupid right now. I wish that documentary didn't exist. Or if it existed, it didn't blame the cows for the pollution. I get it. They contribute to the pollution. But it's not the biggest problem. Have you looked on the roads to see how many cars there are? There are a ton of cars. The cars do much more damage to the environment than any cow would. Okay? And I don't care who you are and what you bring into the table. It's a simple fact, you know, the minerals that are being extracted, the plastic in the car, the exhaust. That's just the cars, by the way, right? That is just the cars. Have a look on, I don't know what it's called, but there's a app on the internet that shows you every flight in the air. Have a look at that. How much stuff is that releasing into the air? Not to mention the metals and resources that have been pulled out of the ground. So you can't tell me that cows outweigh these things, because that is not true. That is so not true. A jet engine is very ineffective and it pollutes a lot. Okay? Same thing with a car, whether it's diesel or petrol. It pollutes a lot. You cannot tell me that a cow is more toxic to the environment than a car or a plane. Okay, I'm never going to believe that. To me, it does not make sense. To me, it sounds like you're trying to blame something that is not at fault for something or a problem that we're currently experiencing. And that's just where I stand. So apparently other people that have watched that have stopped eating meat. And I know actually quite a few people that have stopped eating meat because of that documentary. I watched it. I took on board what they said. But the main topic of the documentary were cow farms and farms in general are high pollutant. I don't agree with. And here's another thing, right? Electrical cars. This is another one. Personally speaking, I'm going to stick to the good old-fashioned petrol/diesel car, and here's why. We don't have clean energy. We produce it through the burning of fuel. We are not at a phase where we are producing clean, sustainable electricity. So basically, we're burning fossil fuel to create electricity to then put in your car. Really, you've just not solved the problem with that. All you've done is move the problem from one mindset, from one area to another. So yeah. Plus, on top of that, personally speaking, I like cars that have some noise, that have a sound, that has an engine. The internal combustion engine has a lot going for it. You know, the feedback in the pedals. It basically talks to me. I know what the car's doing. I know when to shift gears. I do drive a manual. Just from the feedback in the pedals. I like the sound of the engine when you rev it. And I grew up as a kid where the car goes vroom, right? Electric cars don't go vroom. Simple as that. But no, on a more serious thing, I'm probably going to stay away from electrical cars just for that reason. It's one of those things, in my opinion, where it's just shifting the problem from one area to another. The problem is still there. It is not being dealt with, if that makes sense. The topic of cars polluting the planet is not being dealt with. You're just moving it from the car doing the polluting to the factory that's doing the polluting. The factory that's producing electricity. That's all it's done. When we get to a point where we are producing clean, sustainable electricity, then I can believe that, you know, through solar panels, windmills, whatever mills, you know, things that are being cleanly produced, then that's a different topic, and I can understand that, and I might give electrical cars a go. But currently speaking, the UK, whilst it does have a lot of wind farms out at seas, whilst a lot of people do use solar panels, the simple fact is the windmills don't always run due to weather. The solar panels aren't always effective due to it being the UK. It is the rainiest country, so really not very effective. It does help in some sense, but yeah, this is where we stand, and I'm sure it's very similar to other places in the world. So yeah, this is what I think. This is my thought on these topics. It'll be interesting to see if people actually okay. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if people actually have any opinions on that and what their opinions are. Like I said, everybody's entitled to their own opinion. This is just what I think of these particular topics. Okay, maybe I should help the tank a bit. Alright, everybody has fallen behind. I just thought, like, okay, he's here hitting things, he's here being hit by things, and yeah. But it turns out everybody did come to the rescue. So yeah, my damage is not all that great, especially when I'm wearing a dress. Dresses are not for damage. Well, I suppose they are, but this is my healing dress, you see. We don't do damage with it. We like to wear it to air it. That's the aim of this. And when I do air it, we gain the ability to heal people. Okay, so I guess following the instructions of the tank, we are gonna wait here. He's going to go nuts and pull all the stuff. Oh, still receiving quests. A bit late. I wish this would have been done somewhat earlier in the game. With that said, I don't really know this area, and I don't know how I'm about to turn these things in. Let's just see what the rewards are. Nothing that I can use, sadly. Oh. We have a evil twilight acolyte. Gnome creature person thing. Okay. I guess we might as well just pull him in this direction, because the things are going bad right there. Tank is not doing too good, so he might need my airing healing hand. It's, that sounds really weird. It's fine, we can keep him alive. Although, to be fairly honest, I'm having to use the big heals here. Tell you what, I mean, right, this is a full dungeon, full-size dungeon. Didn't get all that much experience. We did get something. Not anything great. I suppose it is a good experience. It kind of gives me a chance to chill back and see and explore the sites, really. It's not a bad deal, you know. I suppose that's one way of seeing a dungeon, because when you're healing, you're looking at everything else but the environment. Okay, let me rephrase that. When you're doing a full-on run that's stressful and stuff, you don't really get a chance to actually enjoy the environment, the animations, the world that you are in. And I do like it, to be fairly honest. It's quite nice. Some of these things are really nicely designed. I suppose you have to look at it for World of Warcraft as compared to other games, that things in this game, apart from the fact that it's an old game, are very cartoony-like, if that makes sense. Very cartoonified in a way. I think if it had modern day graphics, this game would be absolutely amazing. I suppose the way it is at this moment in time does, of course, let you play it on pretty much a calculator, really. I don't know about the retail version. I think the retail version is a bit more demanding on the system. Wow. Bad stuff. Lots of bad stuff. I need to start healing here, but, you know. Ooh. I'm getting hit. Am I getting hit? No, I'm fine. There's healing, there's damage, there's insanity. That's what it is. It's insanity. But it's fun. Okay. I suppose I took a couple of hits here. Don't know where you are. Let's give you a heal. There you are. So, yeah. This has been an interesting dungeon. I suppose if we would have done this dungeon with a normal level group, it would have taken a bit longer. I suppose we get through it a bit quicker in that regards. Do you know what? Initially, I didn't know what to make of the, I don't know, boost nerf. Sorry about that. And by that, I'm referring to the boost as I knew it compared to as it is now, where you don't really get all that much XP. In the past, and I guess it is what we now know as retail, when you got a boost in a dungeon, you would have pulled quite a few levels. The person that was over leveled wouldn't have gained anything, but the person that was under leveled or at the same level would have gained a crazy amount of XP. Whereas now we get peanuts for it. Personally speaking, I actually like that this is in the game. I wish it stays in the game. I'm not sure if it's as a result of the 50% boost to XP due to Wrath of the Lich King being around the corner kind of scenario. But I personally would like this to be a permanent thing. I think it encourages people to play the game, to actually play the dungeons. And that is what this game needs. This is what I want to see in the game. Personally, I am a fan of it. I do like it. It makes me want to play even more. It makes me want to actually run the dungeons instead of get boosted in them just to level up quicker. Personally speaking, this is where I stand. I can understand some people might not like it, but yeah, I'm on the other side where I can honestly say I like it. It's worth it. This should have been done a long time ago, really. This is how this game should have been played, to be honest. Okay, time to do some healing. I'm just watching what the tank is doing. I think we have come to the end of the dungeon, I believe. Possibly. There might be a bit more to go. But even so, at this rate, it wouldn't be too much more. Ooh, cloth. Okay. That's a nice pair of pants for somebody. Okay, we have completed some quests that I should hand in. Nice pants, of course, I can agree. Okay, what did I get from this dungeon? Didn't get much. Okay, I mean, there wasn't much that I needed, to be fairly honest, and if I would have got it, I would have probably looked at how to disenchant it. I do need the materials for it, to be fairly honest, and we don't want to fall behind too much with enchanting. I can afford to fall back a little bit, but not too much. Oh, here comes another boss, I think. I mean, the big water dude looks like a boss. Okay, he's bringing friends. Now, I can imagine this being quite intense at the level. Let's do some healing here. We need to back up. We don't want to get hit. There we go. Keep everybody alive. That's the way the cookie crumbles. Ooh, I took a hit there. I took a good hit. I mean, they went down really quick, though. They went down really quick. Oh, I was going to say, right, so as I've been leveling up, and this is a really odd thing, I've seen a lot of Paladin players leveling up as well. So, bearing in mind all the classes that exist in the game, a lot of people have gone for Pallies. I do wonder why. Now, I know Paladins in Wrath of the Lich King are really, really powerful. Just because it's all to do with undeads, and that's kind of where Paladins shine. So maybe that has an element to do with it. I don't know exactly, but maybe that's why. I mean, personally speaking, that's not the reason I went for it. That was not even in the back of my mind when I chose the Paladin. The reason I chose the Paladin is, well, simply put, the Paladin can fulfill 3 roles. It can be a tank, it can be a healer, or it can be a DPSer. It's a class that is good at all of them. As a tank, it's a bit more interesting in the sense of you are using mana to tank, and when you run out of mana, that's that. It's mana's done, right? With other classes at tank, they build up rage from combat, which is a lot easier in that regard. So it's all coming down to being able to use your abilities and spells. When you build up rage through combat, you don't have to worry about that element. With mana, I mean, we can get some regen from the Paladin's auras and stuff, and some other spells, but it's not going to be a lot. As a tank, you need to use your spells to keep and hold aggro, so you have to keep things stacked up on top of you. Might as well give it a good whack there, because yeah, why not? It's not like my healing's going to make much of a difference. So I do like this creature though. It looks really cool. So these Hydra-like creatures I've always liked in Jesus Christ. Ooh, I think Ark's thinking about me, because I mentioned Ark and WoW. Yeah. But yeah, these Hydra creatures I always found interesting in a design, from a design perspective. I like them, and I still do. I think they look pretty cool. It's very unique to World of Warcraft how it's been designed, but it doesn't change the fact that I actually like it. Ooh, sword there. I could probably want it. I would like to have it. Probably not going to get it, because someone else is going to need it. But, yeah. That was actually quite an interesting sword to get. Okay, so now I know why Tyrion doesn't like it. There's a lot of turtles being killed here in this dungeon. Might be other reasons behind it, but that's what he says. And with that said, that brings us to the end of the run, I believe. Yeah. I can see that this is the end of the run. And so that means we're going to end the video here and do some more questing in the next videos, unless I get invited to interesting dungeons or dungeon invites as a thing. Yeah, I'll be recording that. Either way, I'll be recording it. Doesn't really make a difference. Oh, we get a nice little buff at the end of it. But yeah, thank you all so very much for joining me in this episode, in this video. I really do appreciate it, and it does seem to me like a lot of you folks are enjoying the content, and I'm glad people are enjoying it. And if you made it to the end of the video, I cannot tell you folks how much I appreciate it. So thank you for your amazing support. Until next time, stay safe, folks.
Watch your back.